This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everyone, and welcome here in Sabi Sand Safari Live. Such a beautiful, beautiful morning. The sun rise perfectly. 10 minutes ago, it was very stunning, beautiful colors. The contrast was unbelievable. It's such a really one of the lovely morning right here. It's a little bit overcast, of course. You can see maybe during the course of the hours of the drive, it can be after Gambra can be a little bit changing on weather, but it's really promising that all the predators right now, as I speak, they might be still active in the area. We would like to check in the western sector as our plan of the day. Who knows? Maybe we might be able to see Totospan, one of the best leopard that I like to see, and study more about it. From myself, of course, Rexon and Owen behind the camera, we are wishing to bring you a lovely, lovely ride for the morning. And please don't forget to send us question on hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. If you're under age of 18 years, please pop us an email on kidsquestion@wildearth.tv. Register on the website, on WildEarth website, and head over to the channel page and submit your question. Would love to read your comment and question. It's nice to get that early in the morning, and such a really good thing for us as we guides, able to read your question and feel like we have everyone on board in the morning. I'm not sure where my colleagues is heading, but I think he's in the central part of the farm. That will help quite a lot. We'll know exactly here in Djuma what might be in the area. In the very early hours of the drive, we might see something interesting. Who knows? We'll never know. As you can see, this is Viatella axis. We'll try to check on this road. Anything that comes from the north and anything that comes from the south, possible they will cross this road and we can be able to follow up. There was a report of Telamati. They came all the way down southwest corner, far to the west. Serious, if I get it correct. You copy that, Owen? Om? Yes, what was the question? Comment?
Having kids, what's this morning?
Yeah, cool. Well, lovely. I really appreciate that, Sirius. It is, of course, what we are going to focus. I believe Chris also headed straight to the center of the property, more or less, maybe in the area of Kalamba. She's more active in that area. We are heading west. We had that Telamati Pride. They were southwest towards the Newton area. They are now, yesterday, reported somewhere not far from here. So it's the best chance to check Triple M. That is the area where they might cross. If you check there, if not, you gotta remain. We want also to see Telamati Pride back, especially the sub-adult male. It looks like it's now a time for them to move out of the Pride. There's reason they extended the area. Nothing much here. I believe the area where we are here, if a leopard is down here, it could be a Shidulu, one of the female that she's having cubs at the moment. I wish to see Shidulu cubs, maybe today. cross finger, because not so long I will be going home. I would like to follow up on the schedule and see the cubs, of course. It would be nice also to be viewed in front of you if we locate them. At least we'll know exactly where they are and how they look, what gender of them, whether it's male or female, or both male or both female. That is very important. And the date that we have started to see them, mother introducing them to the kills. That is highly, highly important for the record of the future of the young leopards. Again, we look at here tracks of elephant going in the same direction. There's elephant everywhere around the property at the moment. James Richard, thank you so much for your comment. You makes me very excited if I get comment early in the morning. I'm really proud of you all guys, really giving comments, questions so early part of the morning. Yes, of course, it gives me courage in order to track, because the world, of course, it's wishing for a good game drive. Leopards, lions, more, etc. Checking tracks is very important. Now what I read here, hyena tracks going opposite. If you find more than 3-4 hyena going in the same direction, it means wherever the hyena going, there is an action. If a hyena shows that going that direction in numbers, follow those tracks, because most of the time we know that the hyenas in the area, because it's too thick at the moment. Even if it's a weak animal hiding, they'll ever spot that. So they'll rely quite a lot in a very thick season like summer, scavenging from other predators, of course, is very, very important from the hyena. So the direction of hyena, sometimes it really 80%, it might give you joy around in the area. Well, approaching Sandy Patch, you'll never know. Jalamati likes the area. At Sandy Patch, let us listen to how the weather does this morning.
Good morning and welcome aboard Wendy. Just starting off with this Walbeck's eagle, which Craig tells me is very likely the same one they had last night with Kelly. It's in exactly the same tree. Well, we are tracking tracks, what appears to be tracks of Tlalamba at the moment. It's right on the road heading northwards, and we are going to try and follow that for now. My name is Chris, and with me on Cam Ops today is Craig. And like I mentioned, our plan is to find some leopards, and then later on I would hope to visit the hyena den as well. So it is essentially, we're on in the central parts of Djuma, just south of camp, and we found tracks on the road heading north of a female leopard, and we're just going to try and establish direction on it. At the moment heading back north, so we'll just figure out which direction from here it went, whether it went east or west, and if it is indeed Tlalamba. So it's basically just tracks at the moment, but let's see how that unfolds. You're going to join me. So Walbeck's eagle has flown off. Yeah, I can't say for certain it's Tlalamba. It's certainly tracks of a female leopard. Lots of hyena tracks around here as well. That's the thing about this early mornings, is that as we depart from camp, it's just not light enough to see tracks properly, but also it's not dark enough to really use your spotlight. It's like that sort of, you can easily miss some of these tracks. So we're gonna just try and establish a direction. If we don't find anything, we'll just drive the immediate area. If nothing happens there, we'll continue further south towards Treehouse and Twin Dams area to see if we can't perhaps see anything or find anything on Maribs. See, this is where I need to be careful, because I need to somehow figure out where the tracks went from here. And I might have driven over them already. I don't see anything here. Craig says he, oh, there we go. Looks like it's still. Good morning, Sally. Yes, that will be super if we can have an active hyena den this morning. That is definitely part of the plan. Definitely part of our program for this morning. And I also believe Marips went to have a sneak peek at the den last night. Well, sounds like everything was okay. Okay.
At WildEarth, our explorers are treated to a weekly newsletter, bursting with fascinating features and never-seen-before snippets. Recently, we have added some brand new sections which we think you will love. Find out what happens behind the scenes with our crew when they are not live on WildEarth. Have a giggle at our moments of the week from both Safari and Penguin Beach. And Ranger Steph answers your questions with fascinating and in-depth explanations as to the whys and hows of nature.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species.
All of this and more delivered to your inbox every week. So what are you waiting for? Head over to our website, sign up to be an explorer, and join the adventure. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
It feels amazing. So nice to see the people and interacting with everything, how it works with the cameras and switching with the vehicles. I like it very much. It's very cool. I decided to take a ticket to Dream. I'm a founder member, so the first time WildEarth needs some help, I did it too. And I think it's a nice thing to help them, that they can broadcast every day here. My favorite part about today is to see Ribbon. I was surprised she was there. A pied kingfisher, I was looking for them the whole time. And the drive to the Milwaukee, it was awesome. My favorite part of WildEarth is the connecting people with the wildlife. I look every day, most 2 times, and you really get part of a family here. That's like very much.
But I think that's him. I think that's the one in Must. Okay, this is getting serious now. I knew there was going to be trouble. Too many bulls in Must over one herd.
Good morning, and welcome to the stunning Pridelands Conservancy, the eco-training Pridelands Conservancy. My name is Liam Burrow. I'm going to be your naturalist on drive this morning. Our highly talented camera operator is Johan, and Sina is our backup guide. Our hopes for this morning are to travel west into the reserve to follow up on tracks for what looked like a female leopard and potentially 2 very small cubs. Leopard sightings in this part of the world are perhaps not as well established as those in the Sabi Sands, simply because the leopards don't get the amount of exposure to vehicles, guests on safari, etc. So the leopards here tend to be a little bit more skittish, though the density is here. There are a lot of leopards here. They tend to be quite shy. So we will see what we can do. You never know. Maybe today is our lucky day. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? For now, though, we're just enjoying some overcast skies to the west. I think we started with that beautiful pinkish orange sunrise to the east. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of this cloud is going to burn off in the next 20 or 30 minutes. It's going to be a beautiful day in the Limpopo province of South Africa. We are very happy to be here, and we hope you stick around and enjoy the ride. I think we're going to hand you over at this point to my esteemed colleague, Rexon, in the Sabi Sands. He is also on a mission this morning to locate a spotted cat. Let's see how that goes.
Welcome back from Pridelands. Of course, we are on this road called Triple M. You can see there's a straight road. We just started and also checked one eye pan. There's no much activity, there's no tracks at all, but we're continuously heading south, looking around the area. I feel like very much positive for the morning. It's one of the best morning from our side. You can see, if I look at the sky itself, there's quite a lot of changes on cloud. There's a cloud colliding. It might be one of the best overcast morning ever in Sabi Sand. Look, by the look of the thing. So that gives more extra mile for all cats to get around and move into the area. If not lions, leopard. If not leopard, wild dogs. That I'll be more appreciating for a weather like this, if I can find wild dog, lions or leopard. Not sleeping, but they have to be like active hunting. You know, it's nice to find pride of lion hunting or wild dog hunting. It really gives that excitement to see something like a hunt or kill. Love to see that. I was checking here further back. I've seen tracks of a single buffalo that come from Zimbabwe and head straight across to the east in Djuma property. And again, 4 days back, we have seen breeding herd of buffalo that come from Zimbabwe, had Djuma, about 200 meters to turn back into the west. Who knows? It's now might be the right time. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, they will be everywhere. Lions will be back in the area. Talamati will be back in the area. Maybe they're going west just because of trailing the buffalo behind, because the migration of buffalo, it's one of the things that brings more lions in the area, more especially moving from west to the east, north, south, and vice versa. The buffalo will be followed by a pride of lion all the time. I would love to see that. I can't wait. In 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, I know that if you look at the grass here, it's starting to turn color. Lonely, you want the naturalists to really elaborate how actually tell about the male and the female tracks. It's a very easy principle. You look at the female tracks, same shape, smaller, where the male tracks is bigger all the time. When they find a bigger track and the smaller tracks, the bigger one always 80% You'll never go wrong. It's a male. Oh, young male. This is how it actually works. But it's good, of course. You look at the tracks like a leopard, because leopard female smaller, a male leopard is bigger. And sometimes if you want to compare male leopard to the bigger like Mlowati and a lioness in the area, they're almost in a very same shape. But the leopard tracks is such a perfect round, beautiful. Of course, you can't see much of the claw sticking out, where the lion tracks is a little bit longer, where leopard is round. But it can be confusing, female and lioness and male leopard. Sometimes it's differ time again with the leopard that might moving area. How big is that particular individual male leopard? If you look at the Mlowati, such a big tracks. Of course, it look like a lioness tracks, but you need to look at those shape. Lion's longer, where leopard is round and perfect shape. While I'm talking, I'm still looking on the ground if I might spot tracks that I can follow. Today, if I find the tracks of a leopard, I'm going to follow that leopard until I get to find it. I'll be really positive to do that because of the weather. I know that leopards in this weather, they move a lot, but they will be hunting. So it's easy to find a leopard in this kind of weather than if it's too hot. You know what the leopard do? Ngala have taught us a lot of lessons about the leopard. If it's too hot, you'll find a very thick area and hide. Let us link to Chris and see what he's up to.
We followed those tracks all the way up the road. Just south of Quarantine, we started losing the tracks that went off the road. So now it's either gone west or east. So that's what we're trying to figure out now. So now I'm just checking around Quarantine if that leopard didn't, perhaps its intention was to come and stalk some of the impala here, or was it just on a territorial patrol? The fact that it was walking on the road suggests that it wasn't hunting necessarily. Sorry. So now just inching forward, checking the southwestern parts of Quarantine to see if we can't see anything here, and then if nothing transpires, we'll probably just check Twin Dam Road. If nothing's there, we'll probably head to a different area. Now, it can be fun tracking these things then. Leopard can sometimes be some of the easiest animals to find. You come around a corner and they're on the road, or they're hanging in a tree on a branch, lying on a branch. Good morning, Megan. Oh yeah, I would certainly love some wild dogs. They haven't been around for a week or so. They move huge distances. At this stage, only hyena tracks here. Nothing. Well, just keep working the area. That's all we can do.
Welcome to And Beyond Ngala Private Game Reserve. where the magic of Africa comes alive. We are privileged to once again include this magnificent reserve and its array of animals to your screens in our daily live safaris.
On a live drive here in the African wild.
To celebrate, we are offering an unforgettable 3-night stay for 2 at and beyond Ngala Safari Lodge for one of our lucky explorers. Tucked under a canopy of mopani and tambuti trees, Ngala Safari Lodge offers a variety of activities such as twice daily game drives, intimate wildlife encounters, eye-opening bushwalks and much more. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 15th of March and you will be entered into the draw. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
To have gone through the operation and treatment that I had to have subsequently meant that I lost a lot of energy. So WildEarth was brilliant to be able to sit down for the afternoon and escape. Being on a live drive at Djuma, just absolutely amazing. To actually be sitting on Djuma Dam is just awesome. I look forward to seeing any of the animals. I think it's so nice to be able to see them in their natural habitat. My favourite part for today has been going on a bumper with Lauren. WildEarth has been particularly helpful, and if anyone's going through hard times out there, keep going. You can handle it, and it will get better. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Myself and Sebastian were looking for the Birmingham Pride sub-adults, and we just found them stealing a hoisted baby impala carcass out of a tree. This is incredible. It's the first time I've seen one of these youngsters. Whoa! Quite a good chunk there. Nearly fell out doing it. She might fall backwards. She's actually lowering herself down the tree. It's the first time I've seen a lion do that in person.
Welcome back. We have completed Triple M now. We just joined east-west road called Gary Main. We have seen tracks, of course, look like turtle span, but the tracks itself look like from last night. The vehicle have drive on top of the tracks. It's not a very exciting tracks that we can stick with the tracks and see if we may find this leopard. Again, in this road where we are, the leopard that will be possible to find here, let's check if we may find tracks of marines down up to Vulture's Nest. If not, lots of elephant tracks you can see crossing to our right. And see if we may follow on marines. This is the area where marines now has moved in, and they have shown quite a lot. Tree House, Chelapan, Shibam Road, Muscat Line, on that area. We'll drive further east from here just to check. If not, we'll start to concentrate in the internal road of our property. Maybe we might see an evidence and follow up. We'll be linking back to Chris, of course, and see what he's up to.
Just decided to stop here at the western edge of quarantine, just to listen out for any alarm calls and any funny behavior in terms of antelope, and at the same time just appreciate this lovely scene. This rising sun and the open plain and the impala in the background. And there's even a wildebeest joining the show. Let's just take a a moment or two to soak this up. Well, this impala herd seems very, very calm and relaxed, so one wouldn't think that they're aware of any predator around them at the moment. Hi there, Davey. You mentioned that this is such a beautiful way to start your Saturday morning. It doesn't get better than this, eh? Well, from here we'll check Rebecca's road. And then Zoe's will probably come back around Philemon's cut line again. Or perhaps we'll go down Zoe's, come back on Rebecca's, and then maybe check along the Mulwati if there's nothing there. All depends on if we find any further tracks. So once you lose tracks, you just work the area, and then if nothing happens, you move on. I was hoping to hear some alarm calls somewhere. Hi, Minnie. Your question there, if antelope are nocturnal. The majority of them not actually diurnal, but they do sometimes feed at night. They a little bit more inactive at night. For instance, impala will head to very open areas where they won't necessarily sleep, but they'll be inactive, stand around, lie around. On well moonlit nights they will feed, and they sleep much less than we do, for instance, substantially less than the predators. But the bulk of the activity is early mornings, late afternoons. But there is some activity at night, but we won't essentially label them as nocturnal, really. This will also be different from species to species. Things like common duiker are often active at night as opposed to daytime. Good day, Isaac. Your question is, do all antelope have horns? In terms of species, yes, at least the ones in South Africa. But obviously some species, only the males will have horns. I mean, impala is no different, but then we look at wildebeest, where both sexes have horns, eland, both sexes, springbok, oryx, but as far as species, yes, all the species in southern Africa definitely have horns. I'm not actually aware of any antelope that does not have horns. Trying to think now if there is any, but and some have very long horns, like the oryx. Massive, long, straight horns, and the guru, obviously, that we've seen. And you get something like the grysbok, which has got tiny little horns. They're less than an inch long, you know, they're tiny, tiny little things. But they're there. And the horns, obviously, the purpose is it's primarily a weapon against other males of the same species to fight for mating rights. And then the secondary purpose is defense against smaller predators. I'd like to continue to see if we can not perhaps find this leopard, but let's head over to Liam in the meantime to see what he has.
So we very briefly had an impala, but he's chosen not to be on camera this morning, which I guess is fine. Perhaps feeling a little camera shy. So we've come into the area where we were hoping to track our female leopard. Morris, our tracker, has joined us from the camp, and yeah, he's down on foot in the area, so we have the very best chance possible, with great professional help from one of the best. So let's see if he can sniff her out. We have to be a little bit respectful, judging by the size of the tracks of the two youngsters. They are fairly small. Still large enough to move, to kind of totter behind mom, but I put them at maybe as small as about 3 months old. So give her lots of respect and lots of room if we do manage to discover where she's got them hidden. Kerry, good morning. A very good question. So leopards are quite widespread. They're actually fairly common throughout sub-Saharan Africa, even up as far as Morocco. There is a bit of a gap in the Sahara Desert, simply because there is very little water and very little mammal life right in the middle there. And there is even a population of leopard that skirts up into Arabia and even as far as India. So some of the most densely human-populated areas on the planet, the city of Mumbai, for example, has a population of urban leopard. So leopards are quite prolific throughout an enormous range. It actually defies belief, but notoriously shy of people. In a place like the Sabi Sand with dozens of lodges and plenty of safaris going out every day, the leopards have had kind of time to get acclimatized to people. It's actually a bit of a recipe for success, and that's why that area offers perhaps some of the finest sightings of leopard in the world. Here, though, Pridelands eco-training, though there is a little bit of tourism, the predominance is a training environment. So this is a property where field guides come to kind of learn the ropes, and there are only maybe 3 or 4 vehicles out on this section at any one time. So the leopards are shy, they don't see cars a lot, they're much more wild in this area.
Welcome back from Liam. We are lucky tracing the hyena tracks. Look like they come in numbers in the area. We try to read more on the ground. A bunch of giraffe, a male, mother and the youngster. Behind there's a youngster. Really, really interesting. This is one of the area where I have sighted more giraffe than anywhere else. It's really, they love the area. A lot of tambuti trees around Tree House east and west of the Twin Dams itself. So mother and the youngster, they're moving in the area. I hope they're lucky. We were tracing the lion tracks not far from the area. They headed across into the west. It looked like it might be, Telamatis. They might be back in the area. The look of the tracks, of course, look like a couple young male, maybe 2 to 3. If not, they might be involved with one of the male. They headed across into Hoffman. I think they might head straight to Aratuza. We'll get the report from the guys in the west to see maybe they might come back in our area. You know, the pride of lions, they move a lot. Let's try to reconsider ourselves with this giraffe. Giraffe are very clever species. They're moving in the south. Slowly, they can use the wind direction. Of course, they're moving into the wind, then they can read all the information that might be in that particular area where they're going. Because all the time, having a youngster, they rely on movement. Taking care of the little one.
Ngala. That's my boy.
It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Wow, what a way to start off.
Bright colors, and it attracts the insect to the flower, which is exactly what we're watching right now. This is so exciting. There's 2. Hello, Mama. It's all good. Hi. Hi.
The smallest baby black-backed jackal I have seen in the wild. Look how full the belly is.
It is so incredible to spend this time so close to an African penguin. They just make me feel alive.
That is incredibly sweet. Grooming each other.
Play is vital. This is how they learn. This is how they would tackle prey.
There you go, there you go. There you go, there you go. Heart is is pumping right now.
Look at this, everybody. We got a live kill.
There's nowhere to go.
It's just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, live.
There she goes, going for the youngster. She got it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Look at that.
It is insanely good footage.
Welcome back. We are just still here with the giraffe. The baby giraffe just went behind these bushes. I would like to reposition ourselves in order to keep the visual of the young ones. It is a very interesting behavior, of course. What we have learned today, mother is always ahead to scan around and look if there's no other lines or any form of danger, and the youngster come behind. The mother, she's quite far ahead, more to our right here. You can see how actually she walks and stop and check carefully around the area. The youngster slowly get and close the gap where the mother is. It's such amazing, and she's doing that just because of in the area she never trusts. Youngster is still more vulnerable from pride of lions, cannot really stand the ground itself. It will be easy get hunted. And the youngster a lot more also clever and observe out here. She's not moving with thought, really signaling about the mother, and she's moving very close to the head of Impala, knowing that all the time it will be safety. It's only one species of giraffe that we can find here, southern giraffe, and they are really vulnerable from lion. That's raising this kind of a behavior you see here. Lions like to hunt giraffe because this is the biggest animal that they can bring down and have a feast at least for a couple of days. So because of that, giraffe will always avoid an area where there's a scent of lions and move with it more freely. We know that lions are territorial. Some of the area where the lion doesn't prefer is an area that lacks but different species of prey species, of course. You tend to see, if you really start well here, you tend to see when the lion moves in a certain portion, lovely, Mudiso. Let me take the opportunity to answer your question. Mudiso, it's about 15 months giraffe, the long period of decision of giraffe, of course. 15 months. And it's very interesting when they give birth. Standing still, the young drop about a meter, and the youngster get up within 10 to 15 minutes and able to really follow the mother. Born well developed, strong muscles, they can do everything. I've seen a young giraffe before, hunted by a leopard, not in this size. When I was still young, like 1 or 2, 3 weeks, 3 weeks old, killed by a male leopard and take it up into a tree. It was amazing because you'll never think about the tall species and big and heavy. You can be hunted by a leopard, easy like that way. And there was a record once before, a young giraffe in his sides, a male leopard in Sabi Sand's Djuma, killed a baby giraffe on this size and was feeding on it. A hyena come and interact and take the kill over from the leopard. So leopard males, they can hunt something big. They can hunt wildebeest. Kudu is very common for all different leopards, young up to adult. As long as they're 18 months upwards, they can kill a kudu, easy. Let's see, around treehouse, what are we going to find? And we'll be linking back to Liam and see what you have found on Bushwalk.
Hello again from Pridelands. So we are still in the area of our female leopard and her den site, but while Morris is investigating that in a little bit more detail, we've come past a very, very well-established hyena den. It's been used for generations, though at the moment it's actually empty. The hyenas are out. They've taken their youngsters elsewhere, which provides a bit of a rare opportunity for us to actually take a closer look at the den site itself. We would never get this close when it was established, when it had young in it, because we wouldn't want to disturb any activity. Though now there's minimal risk of that. So this incredible cavern in a slightly collapsed termite mound, an ancient termite mound, would have originally been made by something like an aardvark. So the aardvark would have tunneled in quite skillfully, perhaps even 3 or 4 meters deep, in order to either sleep over for the night or feed on some termites, and then the aardvark would have left. Following that, I'm almost certain a family of warthogs moved in. Now, we can see at least 3 entrances to this den, two on this side where we're stood, and another on the opposite. Now, the one on the opposite side is a bolt hole, so should a pride of lions all arrive on this end and start to try and dig the warthog out, it would have the opportunity to go down a chamber, which it's now extended and widened, and that becomes an emergency exit, almost a fire escape. Quite an amazing thing. So warthogs are masters of construction, but at some stage, these hyenas, the warthog is either moved away, or there is the potential that the hyenas actually killed and ate him in order to take his home. That part of the story looks even more plausible when you look at what I've managed to find here, which is the jawbone of a warthog. So you can see his molar teeth, a little bit like the elephant molar that we had yesterday. These sockets are where 2 little tusks would have been. It wasn't a huge warthog, and then the upper jaw sits on the top with the very big tusks that we know. Extremely well chewed up. Obviously, hyenas are famous for tremendous bite force, close to 700 pounds per cubic inch, enough to literally shatter bones. And there are little fragments of bone all over the place here, all over the show. So the hyenas would have taken this over, become well established. But the big problem living in a den environment like this is the fact that it becomes totally infested with fleas, ticks, things like that. So there is pressure on that family to kind of move on every couple of months. I think also the scent of hyena urine and droppings builds up, so there is quite a risk that things like lions may be attracted in. A great question from Sarah regarding the termite activity in the mound. We can certainly we can distinguish a living termite mound from a dead termite mound by simply checking for holes. So if a termite mound is completely solid, that tells us that there is still a lot of termite activity within. However, if the surface becomes porous, if the termites have stopped repairing breaks, that means that the colony is either dead or dying. It's on its way out. A great question. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, nice opportunity to take a closer look at our hyena den.
Wildlife can be mysterious in many ways, but most animals do leave behind clues to tell us where they've been and what they've been doing. Anything from fallen feathers and fur to footprints and even poo can tell us a story. It just takes a little practice to know what to spot, where to search, and to work out what's been going on from the evidence we find. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Rex and Tessa around the fire as they talk about reading the Bush newspaper. Straight after the sunset safari on Sunday the 27th of February, you will have the opportunity to pick the brains of two incredible naturalists, and who knows, you may learn to be a nature Sherlock yourself. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. From the biggest land mammals to the silent and tall crossing the plains, the small burrowers to the waddlers on the rocks and the small creatures in the sea, all things bright and beautiful, all things great and small, our wildlife spans across the world. It's vital that we protect and preserve. Join us in celebrating the wildest side of life this March as the 3rd marks World Wildlife Day.
So there we go, look. All 3 in one frame. Look at that, isn't that cool? Oh, that is so special. That is exactly what we had been hoping for, is all 3 of them to come together and make the perfect little family portrait.
It has been a wonderful privilege to identify one of our key characters here at Penguin Beach, Pepper, with a very, very distinct facial patterning, as the name would suggest, very peppered and speckled belly. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this penguin does over the next few days and months. Because of those unique markings, it's going to be really, really cool to watch it as it moves.
Well, this track somewhat led us to the dam, and such a beautiful, beautiful scene that we had to stop here yet again and just drink it up. And it's a perfect opportunity to listen out for any alarm calls, anything that might give away the presence of that leopard. And yeah, from here on I'll probably start making my way further south. Not going to spend too much time circling the same area. If it doesn't yield anything, then you adapt and try a different area. And we still want to end up at the hyena den to see if there's anything happening there. Really hoping that there would be. Hi there, Patricia. Patricia wants to know if hippos sleep inside the water. Yes, they do, in fact. Not in very deep water. They'll go to slightly shallower water. Usually those are short little stretches of sleep. They also sleep on land. Especially in the winter, we often see them sort of late morning lying on the banks and sleeping, and also just sunning themselves a bit. But yes, they do sleep in the water as well. The water is like a mirror. So pretty. There's not even a breeze out here at the moment. It's just wind still at the moment. There's nothing out of the ordinary in terms of sounds, just a lot of birds doing their normal morning chorus. And nothing that we can see at the waterhole. Hyena, and yeah, that is such a perfect comment. What a pretty spot it is. Just love how calm the water is, and it's like a perfect mirror image. I'm going to continue tracking, see if we can find stuff, and then let's head over to Rexon to see how his tracking is progressing.
Thank you and welcome back from Chris, tracking Leopard. Chris, thank you so much. We are tracking the hyena tracks that come from the area, hoping it's a joy around the area where I am at the moment. Something here, look like here, still hyenas. I was a little bit more excited to check here, find the tracks. It looked like there's still tracks. I'll let Owen check. Difficult from my angle. But of course, yeah, Hyena was running here. Nothing that's in the form of a leopard. Of course, if you look at the hyena activities around Treehouse, it tells that last night it was so high. There's a lot of hyena movement in that area. In most cases, there might be something that were killed around there, maybe by a leopard, and they come and take over, or themselves they were having an opportunity to hunt and be successful. Sometimes they do have dispute when it comes to territorial boundaries, but it's something that is not really common, unless if it's a big animal get to be killed or big animal died in the area, is where you find that hyenas start to compete the rights of the area. But you never know. We will check the area, we're going to read the ground. If we're happy, we'll stay in the area with the information. Maybe it might lead us into a kill around here. But I doubt. Look like this hyena, they were going up and down. Maybe they were excited because the lions were not far from the area. They had the lions and they tried to stay behind the lions. The lions were not far from from Gary, Maine. He had tree house about a few hundred meters to the south, and they have crossed over. More especially if a lion killed something in a major block, you cannot know if there's no much evidence left. You might find out the hyena were responding on the lion kill, and the lion kill is now finished, and the hyena have interacted with bones and skin. There's no evidence at the moment. Vultures cannot descend on that area, so there's no much. But the way they were moving, of course, guarantee there was a problem. We'll move a little bit east from here. Maybe we might join forces where Chris had the leopard tracks following up. We can come from different angle. Maybe for today, we might end and see leopards in between the two cars. Who knows? Yes, John, you're asking which predators that hyena, if it's around, can be really paying attention or respecting that particular animal to scare off the hyena. Yes, lions, more especially if a male lion involved. You tend to see a hyena, they move off completely in that area. But if it's a female, they'll stay. But once a male involved, they're not even interested. They'll move out, because you know that hyena, in most cases, they'll use forces to join together and drive off the female. They'll come in numbers, and knowing that they are not as powerful as a male or dominant male. So wherever it's a male, they will really get off on that area and move into somewhere else. And they will never ever bother the lions. But if really no male involved, there's reason in most cases the competition between the lions and the hyena is very high. We just find this hyena, yeah? We find this hyena still showing us interest that there's something. Of course, what we read here, it was 100% good. If you look at the hyena, it's like still direct where we come from. It looked like a hyena is getting a scent, heads up, try to get the smell. And it's full. You can tell that he's not pregnant. He was just from the kill. If you look at the tracks of a hyena that in the area, it looked like something has been killed in the area. The mud stolen from the leopard. The mud themselves made a kill. I cannot really predict on that, but definitely something happened here. We'll follow this hyena and see where he's going to take us to. You can tell that even the way he walks, he's still listening. He still has to having a plan of going somewhere, maybe trying to go and kill something. You can't know.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
This is Picky Plastic, and Picky Plastic is excited about the Global Recycling Day. Recycling plays a big role in the WildEarth environment, from protecting the penguin colony at Stony Point by cleaning up the oceans, to ensuring that the safari team reports littering and recycles within the camps. Join WildEarth and be a part of Global Recycling Day on the 18th of March, 2022.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
My favorite animal is a leopard, purely because I just think they are just the epitome of feline grace and power, and the way they can move about in any environment and remain hidden until they want to be seen, I just find incredibly intoxicating, and they're amazingly beautiful.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Stanley is such an awesome African penguin, and personally, my favorite. I love Stanley because of that amazing plumage variation, that beautiful broad black breastband with the cutest little white heart directly in the middle. And Stanley plays hard to get, but we are so happy to have him down here at Stony Point and can't wait to share Stanley's life with you.
So, driving down this road in the furthest western section of the Pridelands Conservancy yesterday, we made a bit of an interesting discovery, taking a look at the stump of this tree. I noticed as we had come past quite a prominent hole, which is not out of the ordinary for this environment. There's lots of nooks and crannies in which squirrels and kind of snakes and birds are established, but the thing that made it a bit unusual for me were these very flat hack marks kind of on all sides of it. So this has clearly been worked by people, and I had a theory which I approached Morris with, and that was that at some stage a tribe that was settled here must have been trying to harvest honey from this hole, and Morris agreed. So African tribes historically are quite adept at pilfering a little bit of the honey from a very well-established bee colony. Now, that activity doesn't come without risks. As many people in the Western world will know, Africanized honeybees are some of the most aggressive bees in the entire world. So it would take some real skill to do that, essentially without any bee suit or a mask or anything. It could get extremely dangerous. 4 or 5 stings around your throat or your mouth, and you could potentially be in real trouble. But the trick to it is approaching the bees with fire, with something burning, something producing quite thick smoke. You try and smoke them out of the hive a little bit. And what the smoke does to bees is it tricks them into thinking that there is a fire that is probably going to destroy the hive. The bees' reaction to that is that they realize they need to move, but obviously they don't want to waste the honey. So the individual bees eat as much of the honey as they can. They gorge themselves and they get quite sluggish and quite lazy, less likely to attack. So these slightly sluggish bees will then almost allow the honey hunters to take a few combs out, which they will do, and then they can kind of supplement their diet with some lovely, rich wild honey, which must have been a real treat out here. But again, you've got to be a little bit careful. Africanized honeybees can be quite serious. So do not try this at home. African tribes historically are trying to locate a hive. I'll hold that thought for a second. Daryl, thank you for your question. We actually stuck our noses in here yesterday, and there's quite a lot of grass and stuff in this hollow tree stump. The tree is still a little bit alive. It's a leadwood tree. I think we've either got some kind of pack rat or probably a bird nesting in there. And I see lots of squirrel and lizard droppings as well. So there's potential. There's quite a community of little animals all occupying this old extinct beehive. What I was saying was that African tribes hoping to locate a beehive, because obviously you need to find the hive before you can start any of this actual process, would use the help of a little African bird known as a honey guide. Now, this little honey guide loves to feed on bee larvae as well as honey. And what the honey guide has realized is that if it can find either a honey badger, again, honey in the name, or humans walking through this environment, and if the bird mobs them and gets their attention, the bird can actually lead people or a badger to a hive. It then relies on the concept that either the people or the badger are going to open up the hive and hopefully leave it something to eat. Now, in local tribal mythology, it is said that if you utilize the service of a honey guide to get you to one of these hives, you pilfer all the honey, you've chased away all the bees. If you do not leave that honey guide a little piece of comb on a stick or something to the one side, almost his payment for the deal, that honey guide will find you the next time you're in the area and lead you straight into a buffalo or a big black mamba or a hole. So you always feed your honey guide. We are going to continue to explore some of the interesting nooks and crannies in this section of the Pridelands Conservancy while we are still tracking our female leopard and cubs. And in the meantime, we will link over to one of our other naturalists to see what they are up to on this glorious morning.
Welcome back from Prideland. We're now here. We got a track so far, very exciting here. It's a leopard tracks heading towards where direct I'm going. It makes now easy for me to understand what might happen at night around Treehouse, because remember telling that it was very busy, looked like a hyena everywhere. Where I am here, I can see the tracks of a female leopard going that way. It's not an old tracks. Of course, I still believe it's here, but the way the hyena was looking more towards north of the dam, it tells directly that something here. Maybe the leopard is still between Texans Road and the dam itself. If we don't come right with these tracks here, we'll be going back into the dam itself, because you might find that she loses a kill from the hyena. She still has to make sure that she hangs around in that area, or trying to tracks here going straight direct. Look like I'm not sure whether Chris have drive here in this road. Look like somehow these tracks someone have followed up a leopard here, which this leopard of course is not far from the point. Very fresh tracks. It tells me we can check even in a drainage line. If not, we'll go back towards Treehouse. Is the leopard still moving in and out here? I believe this is the same tracks that Chris called it in earlier on. He was also on foot here. Let me see, or let me follow up on the hyena. The hyena have shown us that there still might be something on that area where we're working. We were very close to Chris and didn't know this. We're supposed to really get to that area. maybe Chris can let us know the last location of the tracks, where it's heading. That will make our life easy to really focus on that area. If not, she might be more to our right, because used to be a den here for Tandy and Kalamba. She might use that den again back and really save the youngster. But let me observe here and really see where the track's going. But I can see Chris tracks is heading straight direct towards quarantine. Let me quickly go back to Treehouse. It looked like Hyena was just telling us something, but we didn't pay attention on it. We didn't concentrate. If we did concentrate, we're supposed to get this evidence in an early stage or find the leopard itself. We'll be linking to Chris and see what is up to at the moment.
Now, would you look at this? We've got two very inquisitive and nosy hyena cubs. They're right next to the car, literally. Yeah, I wonder if that tracks that Rexon is following is the same one. Well, there's tracks going right here from the den site northwards along Twin Dam Road, but I don't know if that was the ones that I was following. So I know Marips was here in the area yesterday. The tracks I had was on, what is it called? It was on Philemon's Dip heading north towards Quarantine. And then it sort of moved towards Djuma Dam. It'll be interesting to know if it's perhaps the same tracks. There's also a set of tracks all the way from Twin Dams heading northwards. And whether that's the same animal, I'm not sure. Hi there, Eva. You want to know how often do all the hyenas gather at the den? Not that often. In the case of this clan, I have seen other hyenas clans where it does happen. It's when they're this close to the car where you realize how big they are. They are big predators. They're enormous, these things. Going back to Eva's question, I've not seen this entire clan together in my time here. So it might be interesting to know if any of our other naturalists have experienced that, where they've seen the entire clan together. Remember, there's also youngsters that sometimes disperse and not necessarily stay with the clan. You might have some of the older ones who move away, form new sub-clans. I'm talking about hyena in general, not necessarily referring to this particular clan. But in my time together, I've not seen all of them together. And here's our little nosy hyena cub again. It's amazing how they habituate. We might have to reposition at some stage. Unfortunately, I cannot move. Some of them are right here at the car. I know this is not ideal, but Unfortunately, it's the only shot we have at the moment. They'll come back. It's this hot. So cute. It's amazing how she sort of nudged this youngster to move closer to the den. Obviously, there's a lot of leopard scent around. Marib's was here. And while they'll allow the youngsters to explore the immediate area around the den, you know, with an event like last night, they're erring on the cautious side.
When on safari, there is nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. The Endangered Wildlife Trust is among Southern Africa's largest and most established non-governmental conservation organizations. Our strategic vision centers on saving species, conserving habitats, and benefiting people. In 2021, the EWT secured habitats, reintroduced African wild dogs and cheetahs into reserves across Southern Africa, and created vulture-safe zones to reduce major threats to vultures, such as poisoning and electrocution. On the 3rd of March 2022, we celebrate World Wildlife Day under the theme Recovering Key Species from Ecosystem Restoration. Standing strong alongside our partners, donors, supporters and friends, the EWT staff have achieved remarkable gains for conservation. Thank you for helping us protect forever together.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Identifying individual African penguins can be extremely challenging because at first glance, they all look the same. Identifying Duo, an African penguin with a double breastband, was extremely exciting for me. Less than 5% of the African penguin population has this unique variation in plumage, and I can't wait to share Duo's life.
These cubs are actually putting us in a bit of a situation here because we cannot reposition. There's one underneath the car. I wanted to go and take a look at the entrance to see if we can't see, you know, the Corky's cub there. Apologies. But with the youngster under the car, I can't do that. I'll have to wait until it... Oh, there we go. Shall we try that? It's going to quickly reposition. It's a few meters, literally. Just want to give it a second or two in case there's still one, but now all three of them has gone that way. Slowly go forward. All right now. It's another cuteness overload. Suspect they will be back, and I can see they're running off a little bit further, just round about the turn. So I'm going to reposition, and while we do that, let's head over to Liam, who's found something small on his bushwalk.
Another really interesting find on one of the roads here at Pridelands. We have an army of really intimidating Matabele ants. Matabele ants named after a pretty infamous tribe of people who still live in my home country of Zimbabwe. Now, the Matabele people had a reputation a little bit like the Vikings for pillaging. So they would go into other villages and literally come in and kidnap people and steal possessions and kill and create all sorts of destruction. A pretty good analogy to make to these ants who are quite infamous for coming in and raiding termite colonies. Really formidable. They come in two size morphs, which is quite interesting. So these ones are the slightly smaller one, the biggest of the ants, which I presume are the guards, are only about 1.5 centimeters long, but obviously in vast numbers. The slightly larger morph, the ants are a bit shinier, also black, but probably about 2.5 centimeters long. Really fascinating. And yeah, you just would not want to be a grasshopper or a millipede or something that happened to cross paths with this ferocious army of ants. They really are quite something. Credo, that is a very good question. I would be lying to you if I gave you a number. I'm not 100% sure, but I would think that the amount of species that ants that exist would be into the thousands. But let me do some research and come back to you. Thank you, Credo. Incredible how they move all in a single line. I think led by the pheromones of other ants. They really do march on formation like an army. And scanning as they go, they are on the hunt. They've changed direction. They were heading kind of past Johan's lens there, but they've turned and they are heading the other way down the road. Really, really formidable. I was just saying to Sina, you wouldn't want to lose your balance and fall onto this colony. I think that would be... Well, I think we are going to maybe look at these ants for another minute or two, and then probably continue with our morning as well. But in the meantime, while we investigate these Matabele ants and research that question from Credo, we're going to hand over to Rexon in the Sabi Sands with his leopard tracking mission. Let's see how he's doing.
We are now in the area where the last tracks of a leopard went. We are predicting that it might be in between the road that we are and the block called quarantine. So what we're doing now, we are circling the area in order to read the ground easy, then we can concentrate more or less where we might think the leopard went. That will help us a lot, maybe to short our time in order to find the leopard easy. Came here. So guys, I'm reading the ground at the same time, but what surprised me, I came here guys and found this drag mark. Let me show you. 2 days back, and there's a fresh drag mark, the same again. It looked like it was an elephant, but now I doubt why an elephant will come and do the drag mark in the same point now and then. But I can see there's a tracks here. It looked like it was a hyena or something that I can't really read at the moment. That's the reason I'm taking time in order to read. Let me do this again. Right over, then tomorrow I come in the same spot and see what might be here that's causing all of this. You never know, maybe some elephant come in the same spot doing the drag of the feet or trunk and leave. Maybe it could be he likes the sand itself of that particular area. It might be have special minerals. You'll never know. But now I'm right on top of it. I'll see it. If it happens tomorrow, I have to concentrate on what might be. But it doesn't look like a leopard drag mark. It tells that it's an elephant drag mark. Also, there's a lot of hyena going opposite here where we are. Hyena in nature, they might move, but when you see hyena running in numbers, 3-4 hyena running in the same direction, you might suspect something was happening on that area. At the moment, I'll just look at the tracks that are going east. We'll go around where the tracks going is almost the same area where we've last seen tracks of leopard, look like Kalamba, and all the hyenas, they were fairly full. Let's see what the hyena doing with Chris at Hyena Den.
All back at the entrance now, and they've been taken for a bit of a stroll. They went all the way, all 4 of them, about 100 meters away on the road, and then all came back. It's like a little morning outing. Sort of like a supervised little exploring trip. Hi there, Djuma. Djuma wants to ask when the cubs will start hunting. They will start participating probably only from at least about a year onwards, and even then it will merely be a supporting role. So they won't necessarily actively take part. But it all depends on the particular clan again. Some clans tend to be more scavengers than they are hunters. Other clans tend to hunt more than they scavenge. So it all depends on the immediate area and the expertise of that particular clan. I mean, I've seen clans in parts of Kruger, for instance, which literally tries and hunts daily. And then I've seen other clans that disperses every night. They very seldom hunt. They just go and search for, food that they can either steal from leopards or that lions have left. And there's so many factors that, determines that. I mean, let's take Eastern Kruger, where I was based for a while. It's in an area that's known to be home to some of the largest prides of lions in the park, as well as the density of lions there is extremely high. I mean, we had the Sishangan pride there at one stage was 40 lions, including all the cubs, not all of them are adults. And, in that immediate area, lots of sort of subgroups of that pride and then neighboring pride. So what I found there is that the hyena clans were rather small, and they definitely played much more of a scavenging role. Because with that huge sort of lion population, those lions hunt nearly daily. There's a dense prey population there in terms of zebra, wildebeest, those things. So there was a lot of carcasses daily for those hyenas to utilize. So there was probably not much of a need to hunt daily. If you can get a free meal without expending too much energy, why not? I mean, we see leopards do this as well, lions as well to a certain degree. So the immediate area, or will basically dictate how often these hyenas will hunt. And again, coming back to the question, when or if the cubs will start hunting. And that's what I love about this, is that there's no set sort of blueprint for their behavior. And that goes for all species, not only hyena. It varies so much from area to area, even from clan to clan in the case of hyena. So it makes for some incredible study material, so if you need to explore and learn about them, it's just, we're still learning about hyenas in spite of decades of research. We're finding out new things about a lot of species, not only hyena. I mean, in the modern days, we've got access to much more efficient and much better techniques in terms of research, as well as better equipment, better technology. So you'll find a lot of old research are being sort of reviewed and revisited and sort of, almost updated. And in a lot of cases, scientists are discovering things that were previously not discovered with regards to behavior of animals, as well as finding out things that contradicts earlier research findings. Right, so they've moved out. We'll probably see if we can get another view of them.
The peaceful surroundings, the nature, it's not something I can get in my homeland. So it's wonderful to be able to be live, with you guys and feel like you're actually there.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
With wild dogs, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We don't always get to see those, so that's just been amazing.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
I wanted to be part of the support of WildEarth, it brings so much to everybody, and everything has brought so much to me, especially, got me through some difficult times myself. I found WildEarth shortly before I was going to go through some things in my own personal life, and it's what got me through, and I know that's a story for many, many, many people, so it's important to me to provide support to that.
Pangolin, known as the respected wise old man of the African bush, is said to be a symbol of good luck and the bringer of rain. 8 species of pangolins are found worldwide, of which 4 occur in Africa. This mysterious creature is now the most poached animal on our planet. The African Pangolin Working Group will strive towards the conservation and protection of the African pangolin species and the habitat they live in. The African Pangolin Working Group has been mandated by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment to assist and support with the retrieval, release process and the research of pangolins in South Africa. Each rescued pangolin is assessed, treated and rehabilitated by an experienced team of veterinarians and rehabilitation specialists. We can ensure the survival of the species. Together, we can make a difference.
This warthog is in big trouble. He's got elephants all around. What are you going to do there, big guy? What are you going to do? Oh, he's pretty brave though. Oh man, he's not even moving. Look, that elephant is trying his best, but that warthog ain't budging. That's madness. That's so funny. And we have a winner. The warthog wins the standoff.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
That's sizable, eh? Came from there. Left the area. We literally just want to take a look at Twin Dams. If there's anything, we're just looking at some leopard tracks here, which we know Maribs was, yeah, but this is something that seems to be a bit bigger. A larger male. Mulwati, I don't know. Those hyenas back there, they just went into the grass, they're lying flat, so there's not much of a visual. So we'll probably head back there another 10 minutes or so and see if they've not moved. And then we just want to scout around Twin Dams, there's nothing, anything, and then we'll probably try and see what these tracks are doing. I just want to get an idea. This is definitely not a young male. It's definitely, if I take my palm, it's bigger than my palm. So young males, females will be somewhat smaller than my palms. A large male will be just slightly bigger than my palm. And that's a good reference to use for leopard tracks. Obviously, some people have bigger hands than me, so you're going to have to measure yourself and find your own little algorithm to do that. There's other things that you can look at as well. Right, let's take a look at what's happening at Twin Dam, and then we'll return. I'm going to take a look at what these tracks are doing. We initially thought it was a lioness track, to give you an idea. It's a large track. And it could possibly explain why that adult was so nervous. Hi there, reader. You want to know what time of day leopards are the most active? It's usually the hours just before and after sunset and sunrise, with emphasis on the dark period. So just after sunset, just before sunrise, that seems to be their peak activity. It's an animal referred to as being crepuscular. So they're not necessarily strictly nocturnal nor diurnal, sort of like a mix between the two. There's nothing at the dam itself other than a bachelor herd of impala. So I'm just going to go around the dam and then back to those tracks quickly. just investigate it a bit, and then we'll go back to the den and see if they've not moved out of it. But there is no visual at the moment. I can see them. You can see like half a toe. No, I'm gonna keep doing that, and then let's head over to Rex on his bumble.
Welcome back from Chris. We are in Pridelands. We have tried to check Zoe's road. We're not allowed by nature. We are blocked on the road. Something special on the road. Said, no, you're not coming here. But you come all the way down here, there's no much evidence. Only the hyena tracks that are moving in the area. The leopard tracks that Chris had earlier on, I believe, headed towards the quarantine direction. We were trying to assist on that, try to find the leopard. But we are away from that point. Later on we'll go and check. We're going to check here what we might find in the area of Impala Plains. You know, leopards are species that can move openly in the area, not to concentrate only in one area. They can be here, they can be anywhere. Here quite a lot we might get to see Shidulu female. She likes the area, or Kara. Zutini, not yet. Only one day that we have seen her. Maybe she can be back, who knows? We'll try to check and see. Loved by elephants in the area where we are. We have seen lots of elephants coming in and out towards west, also to the north. We might be lucky. You never know. Speaking about the elephant, there's a tracks of an elephant here. Let me see. It's coming from direct where we're going and moving towards the south. There could be more elephant around in the area. This is time for bulls that are in mass to move from one head to another due to amarula season that gives them vitamin C. Look like most of the elephant, they're now in mass looking for females. Maybe, of course, a lot of tracks. We're all hoping that we might find something. Although it look like the hyenas are dominating everything. Everywhere there's leopard tracks, confusion of hyena tracks. It's a big time. You find that they override the leopard tracks and the leopard head into the bush. You cannot see clearly what was going on, but it tells, of course, that there was something. Everywhere here, tracks of hyena. Look like at night, hyena, they don't have time to relax. They move, they cover lot distances, and they always upgoing in the area, try to hunt. Even themselves, they do hunt. Sometimes they make their own kill, but in the area here, honest speaking, due to the habitat, it's very thick. It's not good for hyena to be more successful. It might be in an area where it's less thicket. You tend to see hyena doing hunt and be more successful. The old bull elephant, big one, heading opposite the same tracks that we have seen, and the hyena tracks also going west. Let's see if we can find Kara here or Shidula. I'll extend up to Sandy Patch to the north. Maybe Tawanguma might come out, who knows. Later on we'll go in the area where we've seen tracks of Kalamba.
Wildlife can be mysterious in many ways, but most animals do leave behind clues to tell us where they've been and what they've been doing. Anything from fallen feathers and fur to footprints and even poo can tell us a story. It just takes a little practice to know what to spot, where to search, and to work out what's been going on from the evidence we find. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Rex and Tessa around the fire as they talk about reading the Bush newspaper. Straight after the Sunset Safari on Sunday the 27th of February, you will have the opportunity to pick the brains of two incredible naturalists, and who knows, you may learn to be a nature Sherlock yourself. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature. Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
This is incredible. Looks like vivid monkeys do sometimes go for swims. I heard something splash, but we couldn't see what it was in the long grass. Now I just saw that thing swimming there. This is incredible. I hope it gets to the bank. There are crocodiles in this dam. And looks like, you see that monkey climb up into the tree? Wow.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild.
What a lovely surprise. Well, we're taking a look at this male leopard's track, which we now confirmed it's definitely an adult male. It's not Marips. It's on top of all the tracks from last night. So we'll get back to that. Just look at this. They're staring at one of the hyenas there as well. thinking, yeah, if only I can catch one of those, that will be food for a month. And that's not going to happen. Even though that cow is moving towards the hyena, you can clearly see much less annoyed by the hyena as opposed to lions and to a certain degree leopards. Hi, Bonita. Bonita wants to know, why are the elephants so close to each other when drinking water? There's some small calves around, and they basically form a protective barrier around those calves. Because remember, waterholes is a prime area for ambush by a predator. And even though lions don't extensively predate on elephants, young calves could still be at risk.
Yeah, you're going to go all the way down.
So while they drink like that, that's when they are slightly more vulnerable, and therefore they form that layer. When they're all looking at the water, they're focused on the water. Now it's fine because some of them are looking in different directions. Even while some of these others are drinking now, the mum with the calf is keeping a close eye on the surroundings. So I've just gently nudged the hyena away. Back to that leopard tracks, it appears to be an adult male. And even though we know Marips was here last night, those tracks are much bigger than my palm. It's definitely a large male. So Craig and I think it's perhaps Milwaukee trailing Marips. That could be a possibility. Remember, Marips is growing up now, and the dominant big males in the area, or specifically where we are, Milwaukee, will become less tolerant of Marips' presence in the area. I was wondering this morning where the elephants were hiding, in fact. Usually we see them within the first 10 minutes somewhere you find a herd. But we finally managed. Well, let's head over to Liam, who's also made his way to a waterhole.
Well done to Chris in the Sabi Sand for sniffing out some elephants this morning. We here at Pridelands are kind of sticking with our theme of the morning, which seems to be the homes of animals. Not really something we did on purpose, but yeah, we seem to be finding quite a few. We are under a very prominent red-billed buffalo weaver colony, but I wanted to go in a little bit closer and actually take a look at the, I believe they are village weaver nests, another bird species, which are the little woven basket nests dangling from the lower surface. So it is up to the male weaver bird to stitch together that incredible construction. using quite a lot of skill with his sharp bill. So he will trim often slivers off of palm fronds, really firm blades of grass, and he weaves them all together quite perfectly to form that basket. Once he's put that construction together, and it probably takes over a week of working kind of through the day from sunup to sundown, he will sit nearby his nest and invite females in to come and inspect. So these female weavers, these hens, will arrive. They kind of hang underneath the nest. They stick their head in the entrance. They test it out. If it doesn't meet their requirements, rather than just giving him a thumbs down and leaving, that female weaver will actually fly to the base of the nest where it's anchored onto the twig. She will cut the 2 or 3 lines that the male has attached the nest on with, and she will actually drop it into the water below, giving him quite a firm signal that he has to start all over again. So they reckon the first year of a male's life in terms of his breeding season is probably quite a difficult year, because that loss of all of his hard work may happen 3 or 4 times in a single season. However, once he's got that technique cracked, once he's got it sorted, he will be much better at getting it right the first time and not wasting so much of his time. Essentially, it might seem like slightly cruel behavior on the part of the female, but if she is going to gamble on laying her eggs, talk about putting all of your eggs in one basket, she wants that nest to be structurally perfectly sound. It is going to be their family home. It's going to hold their eggs, and later in the season their chicks as well. So it better be strong. Very, very interesting. The bird world is an endless source of entertainment.
Do they reuse the nest for the next breeding season?
Kenny, good morning. A very good question. You've asked, do they reuse the nest the following breeding season? And the answer is usually no. However, once the weaver birds have actually left the nest and kind of finished up their breeding activity, often a smaller bird species known as a cutthroat finch, which is essentially similar to a weaver but about half the size, will actually capitalize on the nest as well. So it gets a second use. And occasionally, if the nest is very well anchored to a stick, when the weavers return the next year, they will simply attach the new nest onto the old nest, but not actually use the old nesting chamber. Waste not, want not. And I presume one of those nests being disused might be a home for a colony of paper wasps. Paper wasps don't like to nest out in the elements. That's why we so often in South Africa get them nesting under our eaves, or potentially in a room where the door is regularly left open. So it wouldn't surprise me if paper wasps actually nested in there. Well, we are going to sniff around here at Leopard Dam for any sign of other animal homes this morning, while we link over to Rowan. We're very happy to hear from him this morning over in Ngala, and beyond Ngala, a little bit further up the road. Let's go and see what he's up to.
Everyone, and welcome to Ngala. We have spent the entire morning down in the south looking for tracks of, well, specifically the Birmingham Pride, but the ones with the white lines. And so far, no luck. We found male leopard tracks. He actually came all the way from Wildlife College, and he walked up Morganson's cut line, down in Susu, onto Manyaleti. Quite a long walk. But no luck with the white lions whatsoever. Nick has also checked the south with us. Rule has gone and checked the west, and just it's like they up and disappeared. The good news is that the lionesses with the youngsters, they have come back. right in front of tented camp again. So it's like they went out yesterday, they hunted, they killed something, and now they are right in front of camp again. But it's turning into a beautiful day. I mean, the sun is definitely peeking out now, finally, so heating up quite a bit. We're actually waiting, well, hoping for a cooler day, but I think it's probably going to get quite hot again. Yeah, animal-wise, we haven't seen really too much. There was a kudu where the camera is framed up now, a female kudu a little bit earlier, but she left about 2 minutes before we started going live, sadly. But I think same thing as in Djuma, there are hyena tracks everywhere. It just seems like yesterday was very, very busy for them, or last night. See the cloud cover, it looks like it's moving in a northerly direction, which is quite strange. Usually if we have a southerly wind, it means it's cold weather coming. And the last time I checked the weather, it said that the entire week is going to get to about 32 to 34 degrees. So rather hot. So we've got one more road to check. To our right and up ahead is Hippo Quarry. We'll quickly check there and then go up Manileti, and then we've checked the entire south. So we'll find something different to do this afternoon.
Look at that, it's amazing. Wow, hey.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, live.
Oh, that's cool.
Just in there.
And the black mamba's going up the tree and the mongoose is attacking it.
It's gonna pounce again.
Sure, you can all agree with me. It's not a bad start to our Wednesday morning.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
Look at that. It's just beautiful.
Fantastic display by a little herd of springbuck.
How is this view?
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Amazing, they've locked their tusks together. You can hear the cracking branches.
It is so incredible to spend this time so close to an African penguin, and it's completely unfazed by my presence whatsoever.
How insane is that animal?
Amazing.
Awesome. It is fantastic to watch.
Now we've got a tug of war between mom and daughter, look.
I'm just at a loss for words. I mean, that's just incredible to see that.
Welcome back. Really, we are Gary Befesuk boundary. We have a report of Tandy. She's back into the property from Chitakatlan Mamba Road heading north. It's one of the good news. I mean, if Tandy is back in the area, it's one of the leopard, of course, by now we want to follow up on the leopard itself and see the status of that individual. I think most of the time we are predicting that it might be the end of Tandy, maybe in the next year or two. But let's really be honest, with leopard you never ever know. Maybe it can, maybe not. I've seen it has a lot when it comes to Ngala. And also another report that we read from the guide. Talamba from Befesuk, she crossed to the north. She had cubs with her and looked like trucks heading north. And I just believe that because it's not her territory, with the cubs, she's not going to stay that much longer inside Befesuk. She will be out soon. She finishing the kill. If she ever made a kill, she's going to be walking with the cubs back into the area. She might find that if she kills something small, like as far as grey decker, the size of the youngster, they're big enough that they can really consume the grey decker or steenbok within a day. And they can start to move back into the... So, let's link to Liam and see what's up to in Prideland.
Still in the same vein of animal nests and animal homes, we're taking a closer look at quite a few foam nest frog nests. Now they are the little collections of white foam hanging underneath the surfaces of the branches on this fallen knobthorn tree dipping into the water. This could not be a more perfect place for these foam nest frogs to build their nests. I spoke about it in an earlier segment on a previous drive, but for anybody who perhaps didn't hear, foam nest frogs are one of the very few species of frogs that actually lays their eggs outside of the water. If you think about toads, bullfrogs, many of the rana frogs, the river frogs, they all have to deposit their eggs in the water because the eggs dry out extremely quickly. Each individual egg is suspended in some jelly. If they were to pop that on the ground, an hour later the egg would be dead. But the foam nest frogs are quite unique for the fact that when mating occurs, the male will grip the female's back in a process called amplexus, which is basically a hug, and then he releases a fluid which he whips up with his back feet quite impressively. Johan's even pointing them out high in this tabuti tree, 5 or 6 meters above the water surface. But anyway, he whips this fluid into a dense froth, which forms a crust on the outside, which dries, but the inner foam stays quite moist for a number of days, possibly up to even 8 or 9. And into the foam at that very moment, the female deposits around 2,000 eggs. Imagine that. And the male will then deposit his sperm externally on those eggs, which absorb it, and the eggs are fertilized externally, which is true for all amphibians. External fertilization, those little tadpoles begin to develop in the foam, and once they are full size and heavy enough, they drop out of the foam and go plop straight into the water. We reckon they've evolved this way to try and keep those eggs away from things like fish, which may predate on them. Fish, dragonfly larvae, maybe terrapins. It's a bit of a gamble, though, because the frogs will build these nests throughout the bush, over literally a puddle next to the road. But puddles dry up extremely quickly, so if that water is not there in a week when the tadpoles are ready to drop, it is unfortunately a fatal experience for the entire clutch. Kelly, a really great question there. The nests do seem to get destroyed pretty much straight after those tadpoles hatch. Along some of the surfaces there, you can see kind of a yellowish stain next to active nests. Those are kind of where nests were previously. So I think they serve their purpose, but the foam is very, very light. It does dry out after about a week, and yeah, it just disintegrates, gets washed off by the next fall of rain. A great question this morning. Thanks, Kelly. The amphibian world is really fascinating. It's another sort of group of species that I'm really passionate about. I've always liked the stuff that is perhaps a little bit unconventional. Reptiles and amphibians, arachnids, insects, some of the stuff that is a bit of an underdog when you're talking about the stuff in nature. Amphibians are also really brilliant because they're a phenomenal indicator species for the health of an environment. With their very porous skins, frogs absorb a lot of moisture and even air through their skin. So if there are any pesticides, any pollution, anything going really wrong in the environment, the frogs tend to disappear quite quickly. So in terms of ecology, if ever you're looking at an environment, if you don't see frogs, there's clearly a problem. All right. Well, thank you for listening to my little spiel about the foam nest frog. We are going to link over to Chris in the Sabi Sands to see what he's up to.
We're still trying to figure out where this male leopard have gone to. Now cruising up Treehouse Dam Road from Spaghetti Junction, checking it northwards. Check around Pan area as well, and yeah, tracks are still on the road here, going straight north. Actually see if we can see a nice clear track and we can show you. It's just this substrate is very, very hard at the moment. It's tricky to see a very clear print. It'd be nice to show you the size of this track, if I can get a decent one. Oh, I tell you, the sun's now starting to let us know it's there. I can feel the back of my neck. There's a nice track. No, that's not a nice one, sorry. The Hyena track. The thing is, male leopards, they move. You know, when they sleep just like male lions, but when they're on the move, they can cover 10, 12 kilometers in the morning like this. So this animal might already be in Buffelshoek for all we know. I found the leopard males on the move. You need to be right behind those tracks, like minutes, in order to keep up with them. And they move quickly. Alright. Well, Craig says there's tracks going up that way. You can see another track on our right, so...
It's not the same male, it might be Mariep.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, is that Mariep went one way and the big male went the other way. In fact, I'm not sure if Craig will be able to... See, there's a track there. Let's see if we can... Yes, that's doable. So this is the smaller track. I'm just gonna actually measure this quickly to show you an idea. This is a front paw, and I usually use a piece of grass just to get the length of it. Alright, you can see the length of the track there. I'll break it off there. Slightly larger than my palm. So that could be that large male. One way to look at, while we're on the track, is if you look at the length of the track and the width of the track, it's very much the same. So that will indicate that it is a front paw. The hind paws, the length will be wider, much wider than the width of it. So that would be a front paw. All right, well, definitely 2 tracks. This is potentially the bigger male. And the other tracks that Craig's got there could potentially then be Marips. There's definitely 2 tracks heading this way. This is relatively fresh. I mean, it was probably just before sunrise. And it's been on the road all the way from Twin Dams. And this is an animal in transit. It's not an animal that's scent marking or hunting or anything like that. But still, let's gonna give it a go and see where it leads us.
Swatike emsaveni we baba babansati banhlupha we baba abafika endlini yami awungathi bangafike kathitimela we baba how city was a Friday, my darling, was a Friday.
This is that one, I don't know if you've seen guys make soap out of the leaves.
Yeah. Hey, my sweetie, was a Friday.
Wildlife trafficking remains a growing problem in South Africa, and often made worse by the way the media portray this complex issue. WESA, the Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, in partnership with WWF South Africa and supported by USAID, have recently embarked on a program whereby they train reporters to better tell stories of wildlife trafficking.
In my community, wildlife conservation is mostly something other people do, and I would like to change that. My name is Iman Singli. I told people I met that the pangolin is one of the most trafficked animals on the planet. But what is a pangolin, they said? Why is it in danger? This is what made me decide that the pangolin story must be told. If we are to play a part in preventing the extinction of this animal, then we must all be part of the battle.
A partnership between WWF South Africa and WESA, supported by USAID.
It's a legless skink, but I'm trying to identify this snake that's come out. Oh, no ways. It's decided to leave. Go for the road, making way for it, and then we'll carry on.
Our tracks are still heading north along Twin Dams Road. It might be the tracks that I saw earlier heading towards, but something that confuses me. The other tracks that we saw came from Philemon's Dip, across the block, and then cut towards the dam, and this is going in that same direction. And then we've got what appears to be Marief's track heading west from that junction where we were. There's a lot of crisscrossing of tracks here. So we're just going to keep going. Even if we don't find anything now, you know, if it just gives us a direction, when it is starting to get hot, they're probably going to start lying down. So unless we get it in the open area, in a shady area, or perhaps up in a tree, it's probably going to be sleeping with very limited visual. But at least it gives us an area to operate in later this afternoon when it starts to cool down and they might start moving again closer towards sunset, you know. So tracks are not always there to immediately find something, yeah, but just might help you to set something up for the afternoon. Sounds like Rowan has a surprise for you. Let's head over to Ngala.
Okay, so we have found one wild dog, and there's currently one hyena in the shot moving away. There's no sign of a carcass, so really no sign of no use for conflict now. But there is another hyena approaching slowly. There should be another wild dog here somewhere. Strange, it's only been really the pack of two that has been hanging around Ngala for the last couple of days, weirdly enough. I'm just going to try and move a little bit forward. Okay, so there's the other wild dog. Both of them are now lying down together. You can just see the ears. And the hyena's going for a drink. It's actually, you can imagine, really tough to spot if they were just lying down there and you drive past. Luckily, they do have the very large ears. So they were running in the Timbavati River for a while, and they were actually heading straight towards the lions that are in front of Tented Camp. And then luckily, it's probably about 500 meters or so away, they changed direction and they came further south. See, the hyenas are short on their tail, being scavengers, just trying to keep up with the wild dogs. The wild dogs being phenomenal hunters. Looks like they might come back to the road now. Well, the one is going, the other one still lying down. Kerry, I'm glad you are happy to see them. So are we. So we had a brief glimpse of them yesterday evening, but very brief, and then of course it got dark, so we didn't want to follow them. Just reversing for in case this other wild dog pops out on the road. Looks like it might be coming closer. No, it went back. Didn't go forward again. Sorry, Morgan. I actually think they might have found their spot for the day. Long grass like that, easy for them to hide. Also, actually a rather good spot being close to the water here. Might be some impalas or something come down later to drink. But then, with the presence of hyenas, they probably won't come down to drink. These are two very large hyenas, I'll be honest. I do like... Actually, both hyenas look like they've eaten. So I don't know what the wild dogs killed this morning, but I'm sure they ate that. Still just see the ears of the wild dogs. This hyena is curious. He's going to go chase them. David wild dogs don't really get kicked out of a pack. So I'm not sure what happened to the rest of their pack. There used to be 3 of them, and I think one had a collar. So it could be that they would have split up from a pack last year sometime. But yeah, the wild dogs don't kick other wild dogs out of their pack. Sorry, David. I think this hyena's still hungry. Just checking to see if there's anything left they could scavenge. And straight into the water. I always find it quite bizarre that hyenas will go into water to cool themselves off, but it's really the only animal that would... Actually, wild dogs, I've seen them swimming just a little bit as well. Of course, more fearful of crocodiles and hippos, whereas hyenas don't really care. Again, though, they don't shy away from conflict at all. Something caught the hyena's attention now. You see both ears up, facing in a southerly direction. One wild dog is up, and then back down. I don't even want to think about the amount of ticks in the grass here. A still young hyena. Ranger, they do groom themselves, but not as meticulously. You often see with hyenas when they finish a carcass or when they're done with a kill, they'll lick their paws, maybe just to get the last bit of blood from it. But no, they're not as meticulous as the large cats are. And there's no allo grooming. Shame, I wonder where the rest of the pack, or which pack these wild dogs split off from. I'm quite sad that there's only 2 of them. Actually very hard to find when there's only 2 of them. They easily just hop across a road, and you'll miss the tracks so easily if they cross a road. They're running on the road. It's quite easy to tell that it's a wild dog in the area, but when they hop across, well, nearly impossible. Shame, another vehicle just joined us, and I can't even see from where I'm sitting a wild dog. I know they're there, but no view whatsoever. The grass is just too long. It's amazing how these things always happen. So, again, we are 500 meters away from tented camp. And it's just everything is here. Nothing in the south, nothing in the west. Wild dogs and lions right at tented camp. Very close to Djuma River. Actually, the lions were in the Djuma River. I think they've moved off to the southern bank now. And yeah, I think I might sit here just for a little while, see if one of the dogs pop up, or if they're just going to spend the rest of the day here.
Nothing beats sitting around a campfire at night whilst on safari, listening to the calls of the wild and chatting to your guide. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, then you can enjoy this from the comfort of your home. Imagine hearing bush stories from your favorite WildEarth guide and reliving their highs and lows of a life spent in the wild. Every month, WildEarth explorers will be treated to an exclusive fireside chat, special occasions, hot topics, and deep dives into the WildEarth characters.
Everything else is just welling up inside of you out in nature. Now, some people think I'm weird, but I have an absolute joy. I have a
good time.
Now, I enjoyed myself thoroughly today.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
It feels amazing. So nice to see the people and interacting with everything, how it works with the cameras and switching with the vehicles. I like it very much. It's very cool. I decided to take a ticket to Dream. I'm a founder member, so the first time WildEarth needs some help, I did it too. And I think it's a nice thing to help them, that they can broadcast every day here. My favorite part about today is to see Ribbon. I was surprised she was there. A pied kingfisher, I was looking for them the whole time. And the drive to the Milwaukee, it was awesome. My favorite part of WildEarth is the connecting people with the wildlife. I look every day, most 2 times, and you really get part of a family here. That's like very much.
Good timing to come back. So both of our dogs just stood up and can actually see they've got full bellies, so that's why the hyenas are so full. As also, without a doubt, they caught something. Also see the bellies are quite wet, so they went through the mud as well. Now they're settling again. So yeah, most likely this is their spot for today. Also, it looked like 2 males. So definitely they would have split off from the pack sometime last year. It's strange that they haven't found another pack to join onto. Also very social animals. They're always lying almost on top of each other. So there's 3 of us here, 3 vehicles. Won't allow more than this. And it's interesting to see the reaction of the wild dogs to vehicles. They're not very habituated, because usually, I mean, you park next to a wild dog and they barely lift their head, or the packs we used to. But these two, you can't really get too close. They'll get up and they'll move. So I've got Marcus here and then Nick Beale, and it's actually Nick's birthday today. I think he turned 26. Look at this hyena, it's closing. That's quite funny. Almost just looks like a happy dog enjoying the sun. Super long neck. These, they're both carnivores. So hyenas literally eat anything. Phenomenal scavengers. Whereas wild dogs, they catch their own prey. But yeah, both of them are carnivores, and hyenas will eat anything wild dogs eat. I was hoping that the wild dogs would actually chase this hyena. It's always quite fun to watch the interaction between hyenas and wild dogs, but I think with only 2 wild dogs here and 1 hyena, it might not happen. If this was a larger pack and there were any youngsters in the area, then it would have definitely happened. The wild dogs would have chased hyena around. But aside, yeah, the other day when we found them, saw the 2 dogs running, and they were being chased by probably 6 or 7 clan members or hyenas. Hyena's not keen to go closer. Won't leave the area though. He will stick close by. So yeah, Hyena's going to stick close by to the dogs because this afternoon, of course, the dogs are going to go for another hunt. Dusk and dawn hunters, cooler temperatures, crepuscular animals. Just wants to join the crew. Jocelyn, absolutely very big pleasure making your day today. Stumbled over my words there. I meant to say absolute pleasure. Anyway, I think we made next day as well, since it's his birthday. But Jocelyn, yeah, very glad we made your day. So we're just taking a slow bumble this morning, trying to see if we can spot anything in the nice overcast conditions this morning. We're going to take a bit of a north turn here, see if we can find any animals active in great cool conditions. Weather can present some difficulties to game viewing. Cool weather is generally beneficial, but wind tends to be a bit of a handbrake. I think it messes with the senses of a lot of species. It forces antelope to hunker down. We can see a spike in the activity of certain predators, hence the wild dogs with roan this morning. But for a lot of things, it tends to make for quite quiet game viewing. But quiet is not necessarily bad. It gives us a wonderful opportunity to focus on the little elements of the landscape. Stuff that we may perhaps not always focus on under normal circumstances. I'd like to take a look at quite an interesting plant growing off to the one side of the Land Rover today. It is not as tall as it looks. It's actually like a little vine or a creeper, this guy here in my left hand, which has actually kind of overtaken what looks like a dead sickle bush and kind of used it as a frame. This is called the Bushman's vine or the ivory grape. I wish we had smell-o-vision because it would be ideal to present the smell to you. It's pretty phenomenal. If you take a little twig off and actually snap it up in your fingers and give it a bit of a sniff, it smells exactly like a bottle of multivitamin capsules or tablets. If you screw the top off, it's got a very, very, very strong smell, and that smell is an enormous content of vitamin B. Vitamin B, which is quite a crucial element in the human body's healing process. So supposedly, if you are out in the bush and you perhaps cut your leg quite deeply, if you pick some of the softest shoots of these leaves, African tribes will do exactly that, mash up those little shoots, pack them into the wound, bind it with a bandage, and apparently that can accelerate healing. It's also supposedly quite good if you get a sting or a perhaps quite bad sunburn. I've got a bit of sunburn at the moment. Maybe grind a bit of that up into a paste and actually smear it onto the surface.
Pam, a very good question. To my knowledge, they only grow in the wild. I haven't heard of these being grown commercially anywhere else. They also make a fruit which is quite palatable, a little ivory grape, and yeah, that's very, very tasty to eat. But we virtually never get the chance to try them because as soon as they go ripe, the baboons tend to pick them all off and eat them en masse. A little bit of a superstition or a tribal belief about this plant, though. The San Bushmen, who live further towards South Africa's northwest, kind of up into the Kalahari Desert and beyond, believe that this is treatment for very venomous snake bites. So a San Bushman is walking along, a puff adder snaps onto his leg out of the grass. That's a potentially life-threatening situation. The San believe that you pick a couple of these leaves, bind them onto the wound, and it draws the venom out and neutralizes it. We know for a fact that that is not true. If you are bitten by a dangerous venomous snake, your best line of defense is to try and remain calm at first, perhaps easier said than done. Try and get yourself to a doctor, to a serious medical practitioner straight away. But what's interesting to keep in mind is that probably as much as 70% of venomous snake bites are dry bites. So the snake bites you consciously knowing that you're not big enough for it to eat, so it's got no reason to envenomate you. It just wants to bite you to scare you away. So I think in the case of the San, when a person is bitten and they do this trick with the ivory grape that bind the wound and they survive, they think that it's potentially worked, but in actual fact what has happened is they've had a dry bite. Yeah, some phenomenal stuff to do with medicinal plants in the bush.
Wildlife can be mysterious in many ways, but most animals do leave behind clues to tell us where they've been and what they've been doing. Anything from fallen feathers and fur to footprints and even poo can tell us a story. It just takes a little practice to know what to spot, where to search, and to work out what's been going on from the evidence we find. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join Rex and Tessa around the fire as they talk about reading the bush newspaper. Straight after the sunset safari on Sunday the 27th of February, you will have the opportunity to pick the brains of two incredible naturalists, and who knows, you may learn to be a nature Sherlock yourself. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
To have gone through the operation and treatment that I had to have subsequently meant that I lost a lot of energy. And so WildEarth was brilliant to be able to sit down for the afternoon and escape. Being on a live drive at Djuma, just absolutely amazing. To actually be sitting on Djuma Dam is just awesome. I look forward to seeing any of the animals. I think it's so nice to be able to see them in their natural habitat. My favourite part for today has been going on a bumper with Lauren. WildEarth has been particularly helpful, and if anyone's going through hard times out there, keep going. You can handle it, and it will get better. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Right, so Marips has found himself a puff adder that he's busy playing with, which is dangerous. I've seen leopards die from puff adder bites. I think he got hit on the paw. So he's obviously taken snakes on before. But at what cost, Marips?
Right, so we Now just checking out the area north of the dam along the drainage. And I was just parked here a little bit to hear if there's no alarm calls. Alright, so we don't have any tracks anymore, so like I mentioned earlier, it's probably a potential sighting for this afternoon. We'll come and work the area again, whoever's out, and I reckon it's going to be quite a hot day, so probably late sunset after it would be a good time and drive this area, perhaps even with the spotlight, to try and see if this animal's not somewhere around. But it has been a very nice morning nonetheless. Beautiful, beautiful elephants drinking, and had some action at Ngala. We had the hyenas. Never a dull moment. It's another one of those really easy-going drives. Very relaxing. And maybe perhaps this afternoon we can continue, and maybe we'll find that leopard. But it's not all about leopard. There's so many other things around. So many creatures and organisms that inhabits this place. I think it's going to be a rather hot one. This afternoon is going to be very sunny, very hot. I, for one, would probably go to waterholes. Hello, Candy. Candy wants to know if there's plants here that you can also find in the city. I'm trying to think, probably not the exact species, but it's related. Oh, look at this. Look at the funny, so I'm just going to have to slowly down, so give Craig some time to look at the horns on that impala. Candy, I'll get back to your question in a moment. There's also some warthogs. Right here at Gallagher Pan, but that guy's got a funny set of horns. Now that could be genetics, a genetic deformity. It could be an injury early on in his life that caused it to grow like that. Coming back to your question, Candy, like I said, probably not the exact same species, but related plants. For instance, there's a gardenia out here, the bushveld gardenia, and I know gardenia is a worldwide genus. Jasmine, there's a wild jasmine growing here. Some people will have jasmine out in their gardens. There's morning glories out here, which is also a plant that's found all over the place. Let me think about what else. I'm trying to dig very deep here because I've never been much of a gardener because I live in the bush and I have a natural garden. I mean, wherever I've lived since childhood, this was my garden, you know, so I've never been much into domesticated plants. But anyway, oh, there's a piggy. A little bit of a last minute luck because we seldom get warthogs this relaxed. So this is phenomenal. How incredible it is to end the show with this. A deformed impala and a sounder of warthogs. Well, I'm pretty much gonna and greet everybody. I'll be back later on. So join us again this afternoon for another live safari out here at Djuma in the Sabi Sand.